this is the thing. They know what they're doing. When they're going to market you and they've been doing it, they know what they're doing. But they don't always do it right. It ain't always correct.
It's not in their heart as well. It's their job to make money out of you. It's not to make you. For me, what scares me is everything I have is not taught by anyone. It's all from, I would love to be taught by everyone. I love it. But everything I've learned is all from myself and other artists and just listening to other artists. It's just from people, but it's not someone sitting there directly teaching me. It's like, I feel like they were trying to shape me, change me. And not only that, but I'm not that confident. A lot of people, like, including my family, say, wow, like, you need to be deep, like, you need to write happy songs. You need to write happy songs. I'm like, what do you mean happy songs? What happy songs? Now, me, what happy songs?
You know, some of the deepest songs that people remember forever are some of the most tragic songs. Some of the sad songs, right? Yeah? And then you even got songs so sad that after breakups, people play it like 30 times in a row, right? So they can get their sad out. Yeah? So, the reality is you're trying to express what you've experienced through your life, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
I've read so many songs and had them there. There's so much there. But they're not finished with them out. Because everyone says they're too much, don't do it.
No. Look at Adele, for example. I mean, geez, no. You know what I mean? Like, it's serious. There's too many things to mention. Like heart, love, tragedy, feeling, blah, blah. You're going to be sad. But also, I see you. Also, I want to say this. Maybe people might write stuff that is considered sad or painful or whatever, because that's a lot of what they felt, or that's what they need to get out of themselves. You understand? That's today. Next year, you might be elated, writing songs of joy and all this other stuff. This is life. This is the thing I'm trying to say about being authentic to who you are, where you are. But on top of that, and I did see we're going to come back to it, on top of that, you also have to learn to develop your skill that you can write other things. Sometimes you can practice this by writing for somebody else.
No, I can write a happy song.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, for example, we say like, I got PTSD, so for example, I can't sit there and sing a happy song.
Right.
Like it would be like, it wouldn't have the happy thing it's supposed to have it.
Yeah.
It's still make it sadness in the words.
Yeah. You know what, man? Actually sounds like a great concept, you know? Right? Some happy lyrics, but it's being sung with a broken heart.
Yeah.
I mean, these are also ways of overcoming something, like helping to overcome some of the past trauma. Music is therapy. You know what I mean? It's therapy, man. You guys are like walking physicians, man. Like doctors yourselves. Believe it. You know?
It's crazy what you said about, like you make something and then you look back and you somewhere else. Like you write something about the time in your life and the people that are in it and they're all in that song. And then you come back to it, and even if you did want to put it out, you can't because it's not true anymore. Like it's years ago, unless you want to talk about it. I mean, it's like, especially if it's, for example, you write a love song and it's a happy love song, you just fell in love with this person. 10 years later, you're not with them anymore and you've got this song, you love this song, but it's about that person.
Do you know, in some of my songs, I mentioned my girlfriend. A couple of weeks back, we broke up, we're back together now. But I was sort of thinking, like, it always goes through your head that I got songs about with her. And even with the photos, now in this day and age in society, it'd probably be weird not to delete all the photos. Right? I was going to print them all off, put them in a box, put them under my bed, and I'd just not change anything because it's still memories. Like, that's a time in my life where I've remembered, and although in the future it's not good, well, it probably would be for the best, but if that was the case, it's still a memory, and it's still something that you can write about, whether you look, do you know what I mean?
Also, you can only write sometimes those songs when you're there.
Yeah.
So actually it's good to write it down because it's difficult to go back. So it is important that you do it then. And whether you're writing it or recording it or performing it, because you can't fake it later on. You're not gonna, it's difficult to fake it later on, and you know when you're faking it. It's like a diary entry.
So, 2 weeks ago, I went and saw the Tina Turner theatre show, right? So Tina Turner's got to sing songs like What's Love Got to Do With It and all these other songs from the days of Ike, right? But she's a professional. The songs was written at a time, she had to sing them songs. You got how many singers, right, wrote some of their greatest songs when they were in love with a particular person that ended up destroying them. They still got to go on stage and sing it because they're professional, because they recognize that it was real what they did there. And when they sing it, and the people that heard it and bought that record, it was real for them too. Now they come to the concert because they want to hear that song, and there's a part of them that wants to relive that moment of tragedy back then, because now I'm over that shit. I master that shit.
Yeah.
I own that shit. Yeah? This is part of the thing of your confidence, of your power, of your strength. This is part of the gift that music and all that surrounds it can give you, is an ability to be able to get out whatever that thing was and then come back and look at it and be like, right, I was there when I wrote it, now I'm here when I'm reading it. Next year I'm going to be over there. Either way, it's therapeutic to get that out. Otherwise it would have stayed in me and keep churning around and make me feel, you know what I mean? Could even affect my creativity. So any pain, any emotion, any joy, any events, as writers, try to bring, just go for it. Try penning something every day, right? Beatboxers in here, maybe they ain't writing rhymes and stuff, but there is an infinite amount. There might not be an infinite amount of beats that you can fit into into a bar or a count of 8. But you start adding tones and you can go wherever you can go every day. I'm sure the beatboxers are just playing around with that too. So I'm trying to say that we're human generators of creativity. And if you're here, it means you made an effort. And so, again, that's that reminder. One of the main things for me here is to really understand, or at least start to look into the true depth. It's like an infinite pool that you can bring out of your infinite self and share, okay? And that should empower you. It should empower you because many artists and even many students at school are not taught this. We kind of know it a bit, I guess, but we're not taught this. We go to places of education and we're not taught this, right? So this is one of the things I had to do today. My sister, I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
I can't even remember what it was.
Okay, if it comes back, then cool. Is there anything?
Can I just get some gum from my pocket? Is that okay?
Am I talking too much or is this okay?
No,
It's helpful. Okay, cool. Is there anything anybody would like to say, share about anything about what we said?
I think from the viewer's point of view,
Yeah.
what you said, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, as vloggers, we make something, we have to remember that. So if we're playing rappers, we're playing other artists, etc. And that's hard. Like, when we did the jams yesterday, the amount of time to remember, oh my god, what people did then, what sound they did then, and you can, have to remember that. Say if you're making a routine for a rapper, you might look at that routine for a rapper and go, oh no, I don't like that particular sound. Like 5 years later, you need to go back and change it. That's hard because you've already made a composition. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. Absolutely.
And also with you, as a beatboxer, you're like a drummer and a bass player, kind of, right, at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've seen drummers who sing and bass players who sing. I've never seen a drummer who bass plays at the same time, right? It's not easy. But it is easy when you master your craft. Okay, I'm old enough to be NOV looks like slightly older brother. So before I was going to say father and right? So I remember back in the 80s when I'm a little kid, I'm at school, and Fat Boys come out. And so this guy's doing beatbox, and the way they've mic'd him up, he just sounds massive. But at the same time, Dougie Fresh is doing things that just like, oh, how the hell someone does that? At the same time, you have Police Academy. You seen Police Academy? All right, that guy. I believe everything he did on Police Academy actually was him. There was no like effects and stuff because I've seen him do stand-up shows. Anyway, we saw that early development, and then people over here. There's a brother called Sipo. He was part of the London Posse. He passed away, sadly. Yankee was Sipo's kind of, seafood. He was his teacher. This was early 80s. But I remember when it was just they were first practicing. And there's another rapper called Blade, who's still going now. And he was a beatboxer as well. The thing I want to say is that they all had that issue of having to remember all of the licks and everything, because when you're in Covent Garden where we order to assemble, we're all broke, man. We're dancing and busting, we're popping and breaking with a hat in the middle for tourists to give us money. And then we divide the money and you go and do what you're doing. We were so broke that we didn't get buses, we didn't pay for buses and trains to get into Covent Garden, which was the hip-hop centre of London. But all of us oddbods and individuals who didn't quite fit in our neighbourhoods, or fit, but we wanted something more, would assemble in Covent Garden. And doing this busking and doing this work and doing this thing together, these beatboxers, we all developed over the months and years, but the beatboxers, they started to do things which just didn't sound possible. And that's because, I can tell you, Sipo Yankee is putting in 5-6 hours a day at least to develop. That means that muscles in your tongue and your mouth are changing. The throat is changing, accommodating the sounds you wish to make. You start learning more about breath control, you start learning more about projection and sonics. You start learning more about where you can put a tone and a note so intricate that the listener isn't even aware of what you're doing, but they're feeling it. You understand? Oh yeah, it's difficult. Welcome difficulty. Welcome it, man. And then rise above it, stand it down and say, bring on difficulties, bigger brother. That's how you work for these things. And you with that attitude, believe you me, man, you will excel. And the thing about when you excel with your craft, with your art, with your skill, is it builds memory. It will not keep moving at the same pace. It's like it will start to go downhill, start to kick. Gravity starts pushing it. And before you know it, what you do with your art is leading you, and you just got to be there for it. Yeah? Does that resonate with everybody here?
I go through stages in life where 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe even a month, I'll be really busy, everything's going for me. And then the next month and a half, just nothing. Just really quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, okay, stuff slowed down. And then it'll pick back up again. And it's mad how it works. I don't know why it does, but
Is this business or creativity? Both. Good.
I'm
Wait.
everything that I do is music. I've just finished music college. My job's music, going into like alternative provisions and teaching young kids and doing workshops. And then obviously my main hobby that I want to do is music. I found that so hard on my head. It made me not want to do music. But I still did. I took some weeks off from college. My attendance got a bit bad, but now that's over and I can just focus on all this. What was the first thing I was saying?
You were saying about you get busy things and you get lost. Yeah.
Now I can't afford to let the not busy bit happen. So I just have to keep giving myself work.
Good. That's fantastic, man. Who you saying?
Because just like 3 years ago, I was homeless.
Right,
Sleeping right.
right. Yeah.
I use music and dance to get me. I use music to entertain, to manifest myself. I would say it's only, and I know it is, because I do music. And the way I make music is very much like the same. I make music to tap into different fountains. That music only, because the Bible, and the only book is full of everything. So I feel like what I like is my Bible. It's like my high soul speaking to me. And I feel like from being homeless, and I aspire to my motto is life is a musical, and music is life. Because when I had nothing, I had sound. When I had nothing, I had music, I had lyrics, I had dancing, that's what's brought me to this point. So, I feel like we say that, mental, even when you can do nothing on the streets homeless, still hold on to your soul. I was dragging this poster around, sleeping on the streets, hiding it in places like the rain, couldn't get on, because the rain might go there. Even that mystical thing happened where full rain all night on the street, and in the morning, back on the movement. It's like, yeah, like life is music. I don't know why I was now about sound, like carried me, I was homeless, and I was living just for music, basically, and just for sound. That's how powerful it is to me. It's not just, oh, let's get famous, or let's get some nice things, let's rap about girls and ghosts. No, that's true words of wisdom. That's never been told. And that's taken it to a high level. That's never been. And that's music, or it's actually full sound. And that's taken it to that level of like humans. Because so much is not what human now. Well, now the one person force music to compete with me. Like real life instead of just like a song. When you die, you laugh, you live in the song,
I have to thank you for sharing that. And, one of the realness about what you just shared, right, is that source of that music and that dance and everything, and you tap into that source through the infinite within you, right? And you know that infinite source provided for you when Britain weren't, right? And when you're homeless, sleeping in a sleeping bag, is when you really know what it is you don't have when other people have it, or how invisible you are when everyone's walking past.
Exactly, I realize that I'm crazy wrong. That's why I say to the doctor today, like, I don't put my pen, it's like I'm picking up my control, to go into my game, type ways, through time, processing, through creating a kingdom. So I was like, I've created a world, and I was living, in a world that's invisible, and that's not visible. Check this out, right, certain things in the invisible world, and being such a character and such a sublime way. And you never understand it in the real world. I would start seeing my lyrics playing out around me and characters filling up. Or I'll just made up this guy and he's just walked along.
This is incredibly important, right? You have to build on this. You have to make this that other.
I want to teach the kids that that's nothing what I want to do.
Yeah, but also with the music, with what you're here doing. You've got people that you connect to. You connect with Conrad as well. That means he knows other producers. He knows people that. This story, what he was writing when he was home. These things you have to get them out because they could never have been born in any other situation. Right?
I've got something for. I've got boots and boots.
That means you've got a few albums. You build on that, right? Because this is, I've got the hairs on the back of my neck, and I'm gonna tell you why afterwards, right? But you build on this. This is a gift that nobody could have given you. And when you're on your face in a sleeping bag in the cold, I don't know if you ever cursed the Most High for putting you here, or whether you just said, your will be done. You know what I mean? That kind of flex. You accept where you are and that you got there's something in here at this moment for me. You start writing and it's coming out showing you what's there. You have to share that with the world. I really have to encourage you to do this. Yeah, this is your unique gift and story that nobody else has. Nobody else has. And you were going to say something, and then I'm going to talk about somebody who went through homelessness and tell you his story.
It's interesting because you say about that you've got so many things people in your area, and you say about how you want to go and work with children and do that sort of thing. For me, my point of view, I think it's very interesting to see how you take even one word of that lyric and make that into something. Because you take one lyric, say it's on pay, you can make a theatre show, you can make an album, you can make lighting store, sound store, and I think it's for every one of us the amount of attention it's taken one word, also correct to other people. My word could be Hollywood, your word could be painting, and you take that one word and drive with it.
I will say that as well, because my way is moving, because I believe that I went through all that suffering and pain to be moving to never move, because if I'm not moving, I'm not opening up, I'm not crying, I'm not feeling, I'm numb, I'm almost, there's nothing back on my eyes. So the wounds that I was my mom when I was young, and I didn't care and everything like that. Homeless was just the end. Like homeless was just the last breakthrough before like the glory. I've been suffering my whole life and it's going to be like that. Without the roots, without having no wisdom, I have to be patient, I have to struggle, I have to suffer. Like, I don't want happiness in my world. I don't want to be, because I realize that I do have to, I'm stagnant. There's no wisdom coming from that. I'm like, no, bring the pain, don't bring the swords, don't stab me. Like, I want to do it, I want to go around balance. So there's no way to reflect. No way to use it, to reflect. You want to reflect all good about yourself on the journey, like, you can't run from yourself, like, from one place or another. When you're able to reflect and you see the fullness of yourself, feeling you were all dark. I'm darker than dark. I was an evil child. I was doing things that I could be carrying on.
Do you see yourself as that now?
Yeah.
Do you see yourself as evil now?
Evil now? No, I wouldn't say no. But
Right.
I see myself as an evil child because it's when you reflect on so much, you can't look from the image.
You know, I hope that you get to a point where you will say, I saw myself as an evil child. But you recognize you was mistaken. You were told you were, you told things you've done was that, you looked at yourself as that, but you weren't that as a child. And I want you to get to that place where you can say, I saw myself as an evil child. I used to see myself as an evil child. But did I just see myself as a child? An innocent child who's got all things going on around him, family, all kinds of things.
That's what I feel like as well. I feel like I'm living like my childhood now.
Yes.
Like, I live with people. I hold on to it. Like I say, I'm forever a kid and I'm not growing up. But I feel like my childhood got took away from me. Like,
Yes.
I didn't get to live like when I was a kid.
Yes.
I just got to suffer and that's why now through creativity I feel like I get to live like that again. And it's coming back.
Good.
More intensity.
You're in a child. You're in a child. You're in a child. You're in a child. Yours, mine.
You ain't nothing.
Yes?
You didn't. Because you didn't do nothing as a child. Like, you're in a child, what you have to do is you have to go back and grab that child and squeeze them and love them. You
Yeah.
have to love them so you can love you now. Like, that's what I have to do not even long ago, like recently, and I'm still doing it. I'm not even finished. I'm still going to post the same thing. Hard childhood, and I blame myself for everything. But you have to grab that child and squeeze them and
And you have to
it's like,
forgive.
it's not-
You have to
love
forgive
that
yourself,
child.
and you have to, this is the big one, you have to be gentle on yourself. This place is too harsh on us as it is. Artists, singers, performers are the generators that take the bullshit and they do something with it and make it lovely. And this is important because, like you said, what you expressed about the wound and the wound being open, there's a saying, it's something to do with, why are the broken-hearted beloved of God, for example, right? And it's because they say all of the cracks can allow the light in, right? You know what I mean, right? That wound is open, but the nature of wounds is to close them. It will leave a scar to remind us. But an open wound can become infected, all kinds of things can happen. But the wound and the actual wound itself and the healing of that wound is going to teach you things, but we have to move slightly beyond our wounds and get to a point where you can actually celebrate joy with the same strength and energy and conviction as you was expressing the pain, because the joy is in you. Part of you as a human being is in you, and you're at the stage where you're at in your life right now, and sometimes even sitting down like this talking helps to recognize there's more to me than what I'm being told all the time. This is important, right? Because in your songs, in your things that you do, person listening, they're listening and like, wow, there's more to me than I thought, because there's something. You understand what I mean? I wanted to say something about homelessness. Do any of you know an artist called MF Doom? He wore a mask on his face like no one knows what he looks like. He wears like a Doom mask, or the mask from the Gladiator film. You know Doom? Yeah. Just Google him, you won't know what he looks like, because every show he does has got a big mask, right? But I did his personal security for about 3 years. Yeah, I was really quite a bit scary, but I did his security for about 3 years. And Doom has the kind of fans, they're intelligent, they know every single lyric of all of his albums. They'll throw water, they'll throw beer, they want you to soak them and stuff. They're all kind of left field, you know, all different kinds, right? And every kind of colour in the spectrum. But Doom is one of these, like, the hip hop world celebrates him as one of the best. And Doom, a few things I want to say, right? One, he was in a crew with his brother, and his brother died when they were young. And it devastated him. He became homeless. I mean, he was in a rap crew that everyone knew. He became homeless for some years. He was telling me about it, right? I remember saying to him, boy, that's hard, because if you're homeless in America, you're really homeless, man. You ain't no help from nowhere. And he goes, yeah, man, but it's about to get back up. I said, wow. He goes, yeah, it's about to get up. And so he got to a point where the homelessness thing, I can't do this anymore, but I have to do something. He's at that kind of thing. And then I think he saw Gladiator movie another time or something, and he saw the mask and he's like, I don't feel the confidence to step on that stage. My brother was my partner, everything's dead. My father's dead, I'm alone. And so he put the mask on. And when he put the mask on, it masked Mr. Dumoulin, that's his surname, and it gave birth to MF Doom, right? And behind this mask, he could be who he could be vulnerable, but from the mask outwards, there was no doubts, no nothings, right?
Oh my gosh, sorry. That's me. That's me, because that reminds me of somebody that I recently have connected with, right? And he's such, you know, I'm just gonna, since we're all being vulnerable here, yeah, I was seeing him, right? And he's an artist as well, and he wears a mask. But when he's with me, he's so different. He's so sweet, so gentle. When he wears the mask and he's spitting, I'm just like, shut up, man. You're not, like, just like, shut up, man. You're not, you know what I'm saying? But like, he actually met him at an event, and he wasn't. I don't think he was supposed to perform. But he performed at the end. He was really scared to perform, and I literally had to say to him, no, go and perform, like, you know, and he did well. The song was good. He did well, but he has his head down the whole time. He didn't have his mask on at the time as well. Very shy.
You know, the word personality, right? We all got personality. And it derives from the same word as persona. Do you know what persona means?
Yeah.
Who said yeah? Yeah.
It's like someone's being, almost.
Yeah, but there's a literal word that it translates as. That's still
Person.
ego, kind of, but person as well, yes, that does. Persona translates as mask. Yeah? So even when people talk about personality, it doesn't necessarily mean they're talking about themselves, they're talking about their mask, their persona, what they face the world with, what they face each other with, right? You saw the brother in his, I say it like, you know, there's this Urdu saying, he said, "Me namgahu," means I'm totally naked, I ain't got nothing, this is me. You see the brother as with nothing, no mask or nothing, right? And we all mask up to some degree because it's how we deal with the world, right? Which comes back down to the thing we're talking about, honesty when you write. Like what you said, you've written stuff that you can't share because it's so real. Because that's without the persona. That's what poets do. That's what some of the great songwriters do.
Sorry, he did say as well that he doesn't, like he told me himself he's not really on a lot of the stuff. Like he used to be,
Yeah.
but he's trying to like just do better, and he's just not really, like he's coming out with new stuff now.
Yeah.
But obviously when it comes to events, he does his old stuff,
Yeah.
that's what he has right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is just mad you saying this, because every time we talk about him and talk about this, it just reminds me of him. And it's just so on point.
And you know, MF Doom is the person that started the whole wearing the mask. So because loads of drill rappers now and stuff had the mask on, but they're copying Doom. Like, if you go online and check out, if you don't know who Doom is, he's like a legend. But like, if you want to buy a Doom mask or anything, Doom is like super expensive.
Yeah.
He's like got a massive cult following. But he started the whole mask thing. So it's interesting that this guy that you know is wearing a mask and going through the same feelings as Doom.
Yeah, it's the same thing, it's mad. It's like, honestly, listening to this is like reminds me of him, because he's exactly that. Behind, like I said, behind closed doors, he's just a softie. No, he's not a punk, but he's a softie. But like, when he's on the mask, he's a completely different person. It's mad.
This is very normal because some of the bravest written performers are some of the most timid, introverted, shy isolationists, right, that you'd ever meet. If you see Michael Jackson on stage, you think he's the boldest human being that was ever born. And you talk to anyone that knows him, he's the most timid, shyest person that was ever born. Think about this, right? Beyonce is a very confident young lady, very driven. But to go on stage, who does she become? Sasha Fierce, right? That's her mask, that's her persona. That allows her to be something more than she would be, and it's still authentic. It's authentic. She's not being fake, right? This is a tool that she used for her performance, which is why in the theatre people wear costumes, which is why on stage different artists wear different clothing to fit particular persona. This is why when you have your record covers or your music videos, you have styling and stylists, or you might sort of keep it raw though, not even any makeup, because it's about the performance. Right?
You don't brush your teeth.
There's some grimy rappers with crossing quarters on their mouth in their video. Yeah.
People not very grateful for their album covers, and then they said brush your teeth out of Alicia Keys.
Yeah, I mean that was, some people would say, I feel brave of Alicia Keys to not have makeup on her videos, blah blah. For Alicia Keys it was like, What's brave of it? It just means I washed up. I got up in the morning, I washed my face and do what I'm supposed to without spending time putting makeup on. There's nothing more natural than what I look like now and I'm gonna own it. And it made a big impact because it showed authenticity again. You know what I mean? Because we know that this industry, as you were saying earlier, this industry in the higher echelons of it is about fakery. It's about selling an illusion to the buyer. And if the buyer buys into the illusion, then they get the goodies, which is the beautiful song, right? Right? But we are beings that branding works on, or repetitive messages like get Brexit done. Just say, right? I mean, think about it, right? Listen, I'm getting deep now. Goebbels, yeah, he was the Hitler's PR man, yeah, promotional man. You know what I mean? Them days you call it propaganda. Today it's called public relations. But the famous saying of Goebbels is this: if you repeat the same lie enough times, that lie becomes the truth, right? And you can couple that with the thing of, in the days or the ages of tyranny, the lie becomes the end. I mean, the truth becomes the enemy, right? So you've had singers and artists who are being killed by governments or other people because of their message. You know, Bob Marley, they tried to shoot him, and the person, Don Taylor, was the person that was in the trailer that caught 7 of the bullets that saved Bob Marley's life. I met Don Taylor because when I signed the deal with Jazz B and Motown, Don Taylor was the main person. Don Taylor was manager of Stevie Wonder, of many other artists, yeah? And Don Taylor's a man that if he says you go missing, no one finds your body, right? But he took 7 for Bob Marley because the Jamaican government said we got to out this brother for what he's saying. And when they want to try and take out singers and performers, you usually find is because they're calling for togetherness. Yeah.
That's true. The ones that are actually, you feel like you're on your side even,
Yes.
that are more violent to the other side, but that like for you, they're never going to shut them down.
Can I just say something? I just mentioned Lisa Lopez. It's funny that we mentioned it now because the way she was marketed, like in mainstream, she was crazy, and you wouldn't expect her to have any sense. When you actually look into her, yeah, she was the most sensible out of all of them. I'm not no dig on them, but I'm just saying she was talking real stuff. Even when she went on what's it called? What's that show called? Millionaire, something like that. Become a Millionaire, something, that show, the quiz show. The thing she was saying on there, I was like, you know, everything, you know, I was like, it's so sad because she was like my favorite, especially growing up. She was my favorite. Well, I wasn't in the 90s, but when I saw TLC, I used to think, oh, she's my favorite person, like my favorite. I'll say character, yeah, out of them lot. And then, yeah, it was when I found that, I was just like, wow.
And if you were, let's say the first time you started to see TLC, whether it was when they were up and kicking it, or if you discovered it, if you just listen to the album before looking into them, you would not be thinking about how much, like, Lisa Lopez, man, she went through a lot of stuff. Yeah. Some of it was her own reaction, but then she went to Dr. Sebi and got her working and it helped, which made her death so much more tragic because this woman turned her whole life around, started to influence people towards health and goodness. Right? I mean, in a way, it's like, I think, nearly any subject we raise today, because we've been doing it, any subject we raise, we can talk about it and turn it into art, something constructive, something to gain from, something to learn from, something to build upon. You understand what I'm saying? One of my main wishes when I leave this place, and I've seen it again back to that circle, is being able to take from whatever, or from within, from wherever, and develop it into something that can be presented or shared with other people. And you don't have doubts about it, but that you have a knowledge that you know that this is worthy. That you yourself don't get in the way of you yourself. You know what I mean? That you don't want to get over yourself, like kind of thing, right? Is important because there's something I wrote here I want to just say before my battery died. Where is it? You know, I put this just on the bus I was coming in. That self-belief is everything. But it's not.
What's that old song that goes self-preservation society? Self-preservation.
Oh yeah. That. I remember that from the Italian Job at the end.
Yeah.
But you see this, I wrote this, and it's going to be a bit of a contradiction or maybe a paradox. Yeah, okay, just checking if you're still awake. Right, but I put, self-belief is everything, and they're full caps. And I put, but it is not sufficient. It's not sufficient. There can be times, right, if you build everything on your self-belief, just like what the brother talked about wounds, there's times when your self-belief, your legs get knocked out from you, and you lose your confidence. At a time like that, as an artist, is where the professionalism and the hard work and the training comes in. You know, like when you're talking about slow tides and fast and busy tides. So there's that thing of being able to create even at the time when it's a lull and you're on your face. And then there's even times when you can't create because you're on your face, because things ain't right. But you have to understand that that is probably one of the areas, one of the moments, one of the times where you are learning and gathering some most rigorous material.
That's a very uncomfortable process.
Yes.
Mainly because, like, just in that time alone, you start to learn things about yourself that you didn't know, and you come out at the end of that, and you don't like the person you learn about, and then that's when that change really like starts coming in.
You might not like the person you're learning about, but then you might realize the things you don't like about that person have been highlighted to you because those are the things you need to put down now. Those are the things you need to change now. They serve their purpose, and now they're no longer serving you because you're maturing and moving past them. But they're always going to be a part of you because they're in your formulation of who you are. But they can't affect you anymore. Yeah. This is life, but this is also knowing that everything you experience, witness, and go through, you carry with you. But it doesn't need to be harmful. It doesn't need to be in the forefront. And one of the ways you get rid of that is by writing about putting it out. So the next thing you know, that tragedy I just wrote about, it's got melodies on it and notes. When it's played, I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. Did I write that? Is that my voice singing that? What the hell? Because you're so far removed from it, you can't even remember who you were when you did that. Because of who you are now. Is this helpful for anyone?
I agree with you, like you were saying, also I agree. It's like with art, you were scoping more of yourself, and so it gives you more fuel to believe. It gives you more faith to believe in yourself. It's like you're not just believing in like physical things, but you see logos, believing in like virtues and like character and like. And you believe in your eyes also, like not just the culture of
all of those things that we can't see. We can't see music. We can't see melody. We can't see the notes unless they're written down, but then that's just ink on paper. We can't see them, right? In the Arabic language, because I went and studied Arabic, I used to teach it. But in the Arabic language, you have a thing called basira. Basira means vision or being able to see, but it's not the physical eye, it's the eyes of the heart or soul. So though we can't see melody and see music, we can see it with this inner eye. And this inner eye,
You see colours.
huh?
Sometimes you can see colours.
You don't have synesthesia, not just say it, because some people have that thing where names or can be smells or colours can just different things. I would love to meet someone with that who makes music because
I mean, I guess I'm not diagnosed, but when I hear certain things, I
Yes.
see colour. I do see.
that's amazing. Can you make a melody or something by the colours being blended so beautifully, and then that could be a beautiful chord or anything? Have you tried to push that?
No, I haven't really.
Like being with like some, are you a musician as well? Do you play?
No,
Like have you been with some people who play that you're comfortable with and have them play and see what colours? And you might have this beautiful mixture of colours. Hey, play that again. You never know, you might construct a song like that that is otherworldly. I'm just trying to say you can grab from anywhere. If that is something you have, that is a gift. Would you put your hand up?
It's kind of pointed a while ago, but like with the thing about seeing yourself as like if you're an evil child, like I feel like it's not necessarily that you were an evil child. Like I feel like myself is well, like yes, maybe you've done some things as a child, but like chances are the majority of those things were, I guess, pre-programmed into us as like a defense mechanism, so it wasn't necessarily that we were evil and out being trying to hurt people. Like, sometimes the situation that you're raised in gives you a skewed perspective on social interactions itself, and so something that seems to you threatening might not have been kind of threatening at all, but like because that's what you've been pre-programmed to know from that. Like you're raising guns at the wall, and then like that, you're on the attack. You haven't like got around to figuring you out. But I guess it's more for me. It's been really important to accept that like I mean I know that I'm not perfect. I know that no one is. I know that I'm far from it. I know that I was even further from as a child. But I also know that that's not. It's not 100% my fault. It's not my fault because like the want to change has to come from within. You got to make that decision for yourself. I don't know.
You have to remember that. You have to remember as well that you're children. This is the key thing. It's so important, man. When it comes to even taking risks and knowing what risks to take and not take, it doesn't fully develop in a human till around 26, 27. So when you're 8, 6, 11, sorry, man, that's the adults and responsible people around you are to more blame than yourselves. You've got to forgive yourself. You've got to be gentle on yourself. You have to. And then you realize that maybe your childhood experience, right, is yes and can help other people. Can help other people to avoid it. Can help other people to deal with it if it's happened to them or they live through them kind of things. I swear to God, you have to understand. I'm a big man, I've seen a lot of stuff. But I tell you, so much of the things that children have gone through and survived it and still standing, man, they're warriors, man. They're powerful. And a lot of the guardians or adults around them or even their peer group don't want them to know how powerful they are. And the way that they want to keep them from making powerless and keep them there, usually is through degrading, putting down, making them doubt themselves, taking away their confidence, taking away their belief, taking away their hope in goodness. That's some tragic shit. But if you survive that, and you come through that,
It's a superpower if you get
yes, Yes, right? And then, on top of that, if you're an artist, if you're skilled, if you're creative, then you've got, it's like you've got a superpower and a kind of a mission as well. I mean, I want to be mindful that I'm not trying to, if this is becoming some type of spiritual soul talk or something. The reality is, in my experience, even down to some of the most active, involved rappers smashing beats, and they're on stage murking it. Like, even when I'm talking, Method Man's coming to mind. Because the last time I saw Method Man on stage, I was on stage with Doom. And I'm thinking to myself, this brother is 50 something, right? But how the hell is he doing a show for an hour and he's also doing, like, Old Dirty Bastard's not there anymore, so he's doing Method Man and Old Dirty Bastard on the stage for an hour, killing it, non-stop. And even, I think the manager from Wu-Tang, he came over like me and Doom, and he goes, damn man, I just don't know how the fuck Meth got that shit. And we're like, is he like this every night? We're like, every night, right? He generates his own energy, and he got a cold-hearted historical story too. You know what I mean? But they decided, fuck it. I am not being defeated by that. I'm gonna take this and make it into my power, and I'm gonna make me glow.
So this is really like, so it just reminds me of a time, you know, where I was like, I fell in love with somebody like years ago, yeah, and yeah,
There's a theme. There's a theme.
what do you mean?
This is a joke.
No, I don't know, yeah, but like, I fell in love with him, and he was just a rubber, like, he just broke me down, yeah, I was very depressed after that, but I was still in love with him. He was, I said, I've got a thing for rappers, but he was a rapper, yeah, and
Rappers are dangerous lovers, man. You've got to be careful.
listen, I'm trying to stop. Yeah, so, yeah, he was a spitter as well. And he actually, he helped me out a lot when we, you know, I guess lovey-dovey, but then obviously when we went to the uni, just one of them left, yeah. I really loved him, but he used to like use his success that he had at the time to like, he was a very, arrogant person anyway.
Right.
But to me, it was even worse because there was a lot of places I used to go to where he would be there and he would like, okay, yeah. And you think I don't know, but I know he's doing it. I used to use that, yeah. And I said, no, I'm not gonna let him. It's like, I was, yeah, but I wasn't trying to compete with him too tough because I still cared about my future, where I wanted to go. But I'm not gonna lie, that did fire me up a lot. I was like, I'm not gonna let him do this. Like, if I'm at every event he is at, I'm gonna make sure that, you know, I'm killing every single thing. And it actually worked out for the best for me because I ended up, you know, looking to get a further than him. And then, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna lie, we're cool now. Like, we're fine now. You know, we're not involved in ourselves anymore, but we're fine now. But it's kind of like, I felt like that's what he had to do because even his friends and everyone around him were like, yo, Cassie, she's hard,
You know, I'm hearing.
But
Same thing I'm hearing. I'm hearing, yeah. What I'm hearing is the thing of whatever the pain is, whatever the hurt is, whatever the emotion is, whatever the history is, whatever, use it.
Yeah.
You use it. This is one of the things about hip hop, right? And b-boy and hip hop, the hip hop culture. It says you ain't got shit, so make the most of what you got. Right? So what do I have? I got my feet, my hands, my brain, got my body. So with no money, And there's two things that you can't get away from, right? One is gravity, and two is a floor or ground. So you can't escape both of those things, right? You gotta go to space. So people ingeniously thought, well, gravity and the ground, I've got no money, let me see what I can do on the ground. And next thing you know, things develop, right? From having nothing, from being told you're nothing, from being treated like you're nothing, and by being given nothing, a whole culture was born that's influenced the whole world and will never go out. In this country, the Margaret Thatcher's Conservative Party tried to shut us down. They will give us no TV, radio ain't gonna play us, alright? What's his name? Not William White though, like one of Margaret Thatcher's parliamentarians wrote a white paper declaring that there will be no British public enemy. Will not happen, right? Now, people were thinking, public enemy, the group public enemy, Chuck D, Flavor Flav, right? And the thing about it was that everybody, the media was trying to say public enemy or racist, blah, 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 blah. You go to public enemy concert, it was the biggest grouping was white, right? And then Chuck D would say, for example, you know what they're trying to shut us down? He said, look around. Tell me one ethnicity you don't see. Nope, everybody's represented. This is why your government will try to shut you down, because hip hop brings people together. And when people come together, they become powerful. They start having ideas. People start saying, I ain't happy about this shit. And someone else goes, yeah, me too. Next thing you know, everyone's like, we ain't happy about this. What do we do when we're happy? Let's change some shit. Okay, what's one of the best ways to change some shit? Well, if you make songs and stuff, it comes out, it's played on the radio, played everywhere, millions of people hear it. Governments are afraid of the poets, the singers, the songwriters. This country tried to shut us down because they saw all of the black kids, the white kids, the Asian kids, the Chinese, everybody together as making crews and making a difference. And with all of it, we said, fuck you, you can't stop us, we don't give a shit about you, you've only ever given us shit anyway. Fuck you, Thatcher. And we put it in the lyrics, fuck you, Thatcher. Alright? MCD's got two songs. One, Britain, he's got one song, Britain is, the British government is the best at slavery. You just go look it up, right, on YouTube. Britain government is the best at slavery. And don't judge a book by its cover. The Queen got bun hard. It was so, his lyrics, right, and he's a wicked MC. It was so brilliant and so blatant, yeah. D would have MI5 roll up on him in the car, you know? Roll up beside him in the car. They're watching you, MCD. Freaking joke. No, MCD, London. MCD. Yeah? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're afraid of him. Why are they afraid of him? He's like 5'7", slim from West London. Hell yeah, he had a mouth on him. He spat fire. There's another guy called Scorsese. You know Scorsese, the rapper? He did a movie. No, he did, yeah, not that, no. Not that Scorsese, not Matthew one. He named himself after him, but I think he's from Leeds or Sheffield. He's got a song called Great Britain, where, I don't remember the lyric code, but the vibe of it is like saying, something like, for example, he said, to kill us, you always try. Great Britain, you build your whole empire on a lie. Great Britain, and it's just buying all facts. Shit, man, he was getting surveilled. Huh?
What happens to all that history? Because it never comes up. You go in school, you sit down, and they're like, okay, Nazi Germany, they did this, this happened to us, that happened to us, 1915. And then I'm like, you know what I talk about the museum in Central, and how you go to that stuff?
This, what you're talking about, is the purview of empires, or expansionists, or people that move into other people's places, killed them and took their shit. and can't talk about it to their children because it was so wicked. Then they build a history that removes all of that and paints it as a lovely time, right? Hence another reason why they will fail nuclear. Right about now, people who are going through university and all them kind of things and a new range of academics are saying, we just want British history to be taught. It's not taught. We want it taught. The books are there, the history is there, and let's get called, now it's called a cultural war. They're trying to get rid of our history. No, it's the opposite. We want to know.
It is British history.
British history is one of the most fucked out histories.
That's why I spent years in my life studying.
Right.
Walking the coast, this place is serious.
It's serious.
People from all over the world still going on. I still don't understand what else. If I have knowledge of what that means,
Yes.
then what's involved in that? What evidence?
Thank you.
And that you don't get told the true history. That's why I want to path of learning and I wanted to know where I'm from.
Yes.
And I know I'm black, I know I'm African, I'm all black too, I'm British. And I just want to know about slave trade and all these negative things. And trying to figure out this dark ages and all this. The first English history book was written by Saint Pete. He was a monk, like a rabbi. He did all the history about England. Started off with kings and priests and kingdoms and royal divine right for kings. Well, no, the government doesn't want to give us these books.
And we're living in the information age.
And it's also like multi-layered because, like you said about the these artists that made these songs, some of their stories aren't told. And they'll be signed to labels. They're changing music here and in America. So UK British hip hop influenced America, but we don't learn about that. We just learn the most mainstream stories from America, and all these people they get banned and stopped. But also their stories aren't told as well.
I don't know about the doctors well, but Ryan last night was, I'll say that Ryan just strictly came from the UK.
Yep.
Like no other countries can do Ryan, but now we're all in jail. Like the Ryan is coming to the back. But I feel like it's something that people talk to use. I don't know what's guilty now, but they don't realize that we've created a whole genre of Ryan. It's there, it's our heritage, it's our history, it's our culture. But yeah, now we're going to jail, which is New York and I mean, the Ryan is our English.
I think from an education point of view, so I'm a drama teacher, I teach drama. We see nowadays in the education world, you seem to decolonising the curriculum and how we're talking about doing plays from Ukraine, doing plays from Japan, doing China, and all that sort of stuff. Actually, that's good, but actually it's about getting the local playwright you know down the road to play these. It's about instead of looking at music as baroque and classical and Renaissance, you need to look at music now, or look at the local grime artists who's down the road, or the local singer who's down the road.
So I was going to say, I think it's definitely also the structuralization and how, e.g. school, to me, I think I always government artists get killed in school because of how they're structuralized, what they're sexualizing, the norms, everything. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy how you can go from learning one thing and you have to desocialize yourself to literally become your own person and find out different things. So yeah, I just want to add on because you said as well, e.g. history and all that, it's a joke. Like artists and all that sort of stuff.
I've got to add something to what you've all said, right? One, we must remember the institutions that have been established, especially on the back of things like colonialism or governance or expansion, are all about maintaining control, right? A free spirit with a voice is like a freaking loose cannon.
It's funny because a lot of them will say, be free.
That be free is not to this stay free.
and some of those are just not that. It's good that it's just not that, because if people could do that, it'd be some crazy shit happening. When I talk about control, I'm talking about restriction that is unnecessary because it's there to keep people in power, right? All right? The Game of Thrones quote. I'm sure it wasn't the first place that said it. People believe you have the power because they believe power resides with you. So they give you the power by things like voting for this person. And the majority of the voting public voted for some dude called Boris Johnson, who's an open liar and a gay, and it's so obvious, but they convinced them with the 3-word slogan to do it, right? Very simplistic. And now most people are either like, I messed up, I take it back, and others are like, I messed up, but I can't tell anyone, right? Why they still suffer. Control, the wrong type of control can be the most damaging, and the worst thing is that we know within ourselves that it's not right. What can I do about it? Again, that's another thing you guys can do about it. And it doesn't need to be even some political party business. Just express yourself and play with your expression. Because I promise you, as you advance, as you develop with your skills, as you get older, you see the world differently. Everything changes in the world. The one thing that stays the same, I believe, is the unific absolute oneness that permeates everything. And also the core life emanation within you. The thing that gives you life. These things stay the same. Our mood, our desires, our wants, that changes. Our height, our skin, our hair falling out or getting grey, that all changes. Our friends change, where we live changes. But there's something else that's always constant, that's in touch with that absolute oneness that permeates everything. I also believe that's the source of the art. That's where we take it from as well.
I truly believe that everyone has a God in them. I genuinely do. I had like a whole, gone back and a period of time where I'm faithful and then I don't have faith, and then I'm faithful and then I don't have faith, and then I keep it my mum. Yeah, and then I hate it and then it's love again. So it's like a love-hate relationship. But when I was in the hate part of it, I came to the conclusion, you know what, why does everyone, like, you know, when you're on your own or when things are at their worst, you're going like, oh, please help me, like, can you pray to God and you ask for help, and it don't come. But you are, when you're praying positively and you're asking, that's affirmation, it's a belief. It's you believing, you're believing in this person. You can look up, but if you're saying those things, you mean it for yourself, like you can become your own God, you can become like so powerful, so strong, I think. You're just believing in yourself, like so hard, like it takes a lot to do it, like it takes time.
And the manifestation of God can be in so many ways for us. It can be love, it can be creation, it can be invention, it can be mercy, it can be wrath, it can be addressing wrongs, it can be joyousness, yeah, it can be depth, yeah, it can be so much, okay, it can be so much. We all are being born with the key, with the key to access it and do what we're doing. Whatever one want to call it, faith, no faith, this, that, other. My emphasis is that within you is an endless source that you must tap, because you could never tap it out. It could never be finished. You know, some people are being a bit more quiet than others. I would like to hear something, even if it's what you're gaining from being here or anything. You don't have to though.
You talk about some of your career highlights as an artist.
Yeah.
Also, and then some of the like things that have been quite hard that you've got through, because people talked about kind of the lows.
Yeah.
It'd be good to know like what are the highlights, and then kind of like how do you get through those low points?
Okay. Talk about, for example, I released my seminal album It was released in 1990, and it was celebrated globally, and even today people still play it. Maybe it was very real feeling, and we would spend, that album took us like a year and a half to write and record and be happy with it. It weren't them ones where you go into the studio, your brethren's yard, and you know, the closet is the mic, it's the mic room and thing. Now, we were going to the studio, we were paying proper money. This was before you even had, you know, automated desks. So we using analog. When you're mixing, you want to drop out in the right place, right? You've got to button it out. So you've got 6 hands fading and hitting, and we got some really good mixes like that. But the thing is, you could never do that again. So what you've done is there. What I'm getting at is that the album was a snapshot of our life that was so important, right? And it got released and it did really well. And then after that, the label that I was on, it was the major label called Rough Trade. They had old bands like the Smiths and all these other groups like Morrissey and all these kind of people. It was an indie. One of the best labels.
Some of the biggest British acts of all time.
Yeah, exactly. York and all of them, man, was on it. And I was the only hip hop artist. And then the label went into receivership.
And did you go on your MTV Raps and all that because of that album?
Yes. The Yo MTV Rap stuff was more because of the shows, I reckon. Because in the back of that album and before it, we were known for crushing shows, like, hire us if you want the audience to get bad up. That was us all around the world, man. In fact, we went on tour with, DJ Premier and Guru, they were called Gangsta, Jay with Damager, these New York rappers and stuff. Yeah. We was on tour together for like 4 weeks, did the whole of Europe. And to this day, Primo was like, yo, MellO, you know, it's the best tour I've ever had, right? I'm like, it was the best tour we ever had too, right? Just amazing things happen. But on that tour, myself, DJ Pogo, and Jonesy D, that was the tour, that was our group. We were like, we are smoking every stage we go into, we don't care, because we're opening up. Like, yo, this is Europe, man. This is our town. And we were smashing shows so hard that certain places, people said, you got killed it and you opened up. Because of the mentality that we had. And it caused the other artists to step up their game as well. Okay? So, the back of the touring was the album and some further releases. But what I want to tell you is that we, when the label went into receivership, I then went into negotiations with Jazzy B, because Jazzy B, Soul to Soul at that time blew up the world, right? I was in New York in 1990, and down Broadway walking, and I saw this brother, right, kind of baggy jeans, short back and side with locks on the top, and he was leaning by the cinema by a wall, just leaning. I walked past him and just stopped and I looked at the brother and I went, man, where you from? He's like, same place you're from, brother. I said, yeah. You know why I know? Because there was nobody with locks in America unless you was a Rasta. And if you got short back and sides and locks on the top, you're from London, right? Go back I went back, and it was I went back in like 92, everyone's got locks, right? Everyone's got locks. I said that because when we negotiated with Jazzy B, this was 1990, 91, America woke up to the fact that black people live in Britain because Soul to Soul. And the cultural thing coming with the locks and identity, America, all the locks business in their hair, it's Britain and kicked that off, Soul to Soul. So I signed to Soul to Soul because Motown America saw Jazzy B as being the next Berry Gordy. They wanted to make Motown UK become like Motown was in America. And they looked at Jazzy and said, dude, in your country, you've got so many artists, you can really take the world. Soul to Soul had taken the world.
And Soul to Soul were the first kind of people to mix like soul music with hip hop beats. What we now would call that classic hip hop sound. This is a,
The what?
They do Candy.
Candy
No,
Melon.
I mean, so I think it's part of it.
You guys, this one, Soul to Soul, you've got to look up Soul to Soul. Can't really judge the beat. You know, Back to Life and those kind of songs, right? So, yeah. That blew up the whole world, yeah? Right? And people hadn't heard those beats before on soul music like that, but those like hip hop beats. So I signed to Soul to Soul record, which was Motown, in that period of just their hype. Now, signed still, and we're working on an album. My first album is called Revelation 1, Thoughts Released. We recorded the second album, which was even better than the first one. It's called Revelation 2, Thoughts Increased. Then the next album will be Revelation 3, Thoughts Unleashed, where I would no holding back. And when you hear the first album, you're going to be like, dude, you weren't holding back on that. That's how it was. And the second album, you know, it was. So this was what I was doing. I had, this comes from my mind, I had my plan of what I was going to do. And what's important is this, in 1988, Public Enemy, LL Cool J and Houdini, I think it was. That was the first one maybe, and if not that, it was Public Enemy, LL Cool J, someone else, but they were doing Hammer's OGM. What's important here is that this is the first time Public Enemy were here, and we were at that jam, and the police were going on course outside with people, right? They're saying Public Enemy, they're trying to controversy. Police was running people down, all kinds of stuff. We were all kids. After the concert, Public Enemy came out and met with us. We went under the Hammersmith flyover, and Public Enemy schooled us for 2 to 3 hours, right? And this is one of the things that I will never forget what Chuck D said. He said that the aim of Public Enemy is to create 10 albums. And from these 10 albums, to create 10 leaders around the globe, who would then go on to create other leaders, so that we become empowered through this music and through what's right for us to be able to change our future and change our world. This was Public Enemy's mission. And I think British and American government found out that they were trying to shut them down at any chance they could get. But Public Enemy kept making music and lyrics that you couldn't shut down. You could say, I'm not going to play on the radio. This was before the internet. People go, it don't matter, I got tapes, or I got, you know what I mean? So Chuck D said that. So now I'm ready for the second album. I believe in it, I want to change the world with it. We recorded the second album. I paid all of the different producers, different DJs that's cutting up on it, different artists.
and how much would it cost? It would cost a lot of money back then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that deal then, which was 1991, was 100 bags, it was 100 grand. And
I mean, 100 grand would be a lot now.
yes,
Spend on the album.
100 grand 30 years ago was definitely much more than 100 grand today in what you can do with it. But I lived poor. I wasn't trying to live glam because this was my life, this thing here, and everything got poured into it. Now, this is the key thing I want to say about this disappointment is that we recorded this album, and I was in Soul to Soul studio, we had a cutting-edge studio in Camden. And have you ever heard of a group called Jodeci? Yeah, they're old. They're the one, the original R&B with the sexy guys.
Every freaking night, every
Yeah.
freaking day, I want to freak you, baby, every freaking way.
Them guys.
You know that tune?
Do it again.
If you don't know it from that, every freaking night, every freaking day, I want to freak you, baby, in every freaking way.
I'd be like, ladies, stay the freaking hell away from them guys. Right? Anyway, the manager of Jodeci and other people, he was in the studio with Jazzy, and another guy called Fab Five Freddy. Fab Five Freddy is very, very, very important in hip hop. And Jazzy played my album. And these Americans, like, these are big shots. It's like nodding their head. They had a couple of ladies with there, and they're just talking. Second tune come. Head's nodding more. I'm just sitting down quiet and watching this thing. By the third tune come, they're ignoring the women, and these big grown men are dancing. Wow! And they listen to the whole album, and I observed this. The album's finished. And it goes, oh, Jazzy, man, where the fuck is this guy? This Jazzy goes, what? Where's this MellO guy? Where the fuck is he? I'm sitting right there, you know? Jazzy goes, there he is. And he's like, hell no. No, that's not him. He has to be 6'4" and hench. I was like, no, it's me. You know, you talk about the brother who got a mask on stage, but then at home he's just quiet. This is me, I'm centered.
I mean, he's not quite.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. He's not the man on stage like that, but that man on stage is him, it's in him. He just needed a mask to bring it out. So with this situation, these big time people in the business were losing their shit about my album, and at the same time, Soul to Soul's third album came out and was nosediving. And I believe that, and also a lot of the Soul to Soul crew who helped to make Soul to Soul, all those songs what they were, believe it. So Jazzy was seen like a bit, I don't know if he was getting depressed or just not motivated, but my album was ready, and he said, I'm not accepting it. The contract says you have to accept the album on completion, then I get my last quarter of it, the 25 grand for me to do what I'm doing with, after paying everything. I was told, I'm not accepting it. I said, what are you doing? I've delivered an album. No, I'm not accepting it. Because what happened then is 1991, and you had the first Operation Desert Storm, when Kuwait was invaded by the Iraqis, then the whole world went. Now, this is before many were born, right? But it smashed the economy, and that had a knock-on for all of us. So I'm a young guy. I've just signed a massive deal. My records are ready. Time to go. There's this war. Economy's gone funny, and Jazzy decided he's going to lock down and not spend as he should spend. Therefore, me, a reggae singer called Toyin, and another reggae singer tried to shelve our albums that they're not going to come out, because he didn't want to spend the little money that he's supposed to spend that was given to him by Motown. So I was down in the dumps with this, because I've just made the best thing I've ever created, and there's this black cultural dread man telling me it ain't gonna come out. And I'm there thinking, I've had enough crap in the music business with what I perceive as prejudice. I didn't expect it from this guy. Now, I could have stayed down and just folded, but the music is keeping me. And I made sure whenever I sign any deal, and I say this to any of you, if you're gonna sign a deal, you try to make sure that there's a whole door open for you to still be free to do other things. If you sign an exclusive deal, they got everything, you're a slave. And you will be treated like one.
Did they own you for a certain amount of time?
Depends.
Depends on the country.
In yours?
Yeah. In my case, in those days, your stuff reverts to you. The rights revert to you after 6 or 7 years anyway, unless it's stipulated otherwise. But you know, you've got things like fair trade policies to protect you and your intellectual property, right? So I'm telling you this because I was really down about this. I really wanted things to work, but at the same time, because of all the work I'd done before, I was getting shows all the time. So I was able to do shows. There was times when I know I got my 25 grand sitting in the bank that the man won't give me, and I'm kind of hungry in my yard. And I had certain friends back there it's recording, I won't say. But certain people wanted to go and do something about it. And I had to tell them, no, justice will come, just leave it. You don't have to pay us now, you just got to do it. No, right? And I'm thankful for that because I kept the work going and it didn't destroy my creativity. It gave me something to write about. That was a part in the music business that was very difficult for me. And then what happened was there's a magazine called IG Magazine. They had a table discussion. So they had Boy George, they had Fatboy Slim, they had all these big names around the table. These are people who were selling #1 in the charts all the time, famous around the whole world. And I got little old MC MellO as one of the people sitting. You had the CEO of RCA Records, and all around the table chatting about music. I'm a bit quietish. And then I think Fatboy Slim, because Fatboy Slim was like to the RCA person, well look, you've got lots of British artists and you don't sign them. She goes, well like who? Like MC MellO sitting right there. And then Boy George goes, yes, he's one of the best MCs. Like, well I didn't know about him. That's your fault that you didn't know about him. What are you going to do about it? And you know what, they talked her into a meeting for me. I went up to RCA and had this meeting and I got signed. But they wanted to have a particular image, I guess. And even then they didn't know quite what the image was. They just knew I ain't doing tits and ass, guns and violence. I ain't doing that shit. I'm speaking constructive things, social things, uplifting things, knowledge things, hip hop things. And then do some violence or whatever, but it's always going to be relevant and end in glorification. I got a photographer called Kofi Allen. He is a photographer that takes some of the most iconic photos for people around the world. And he came and did it for peanuts. And the images we got were powerful. We had everything ready, right? The album was ready, everything. Had the big meeting with the A&R, RCA, and all of them people. And drew out the photos. And I saw all of their faces drop. What's going on? They were like, we think it's a bit too cultural. Might it be seen a little bit scary? I'm like, I'm just standing up. I'm literally just standing up in the photo. Yeah, and he looked at all the other artists, and if it's female artists, they've got to be pretty, they couldn't look any more beautiful than they are, and cleavage has to be out, there has to be some suggestive something. The guys, this idea is RCA. They so didn't want to have to deal with the realness of the music and the artists, right? That when Wu-Tang, because Wu-Tang, the sister company of RCA, the day that Wu-Tang first came to Britain, right, and they had to come to RCA, over half of the staff phoned in sick. Because they're like, you gotta face this. There's some real people with this music, so the phone is sick. So I'm dealing with an international company that makes music who is not looking to support me, not looking to understand me, not looking to invest in me, right? And not looking to develop. And that was the period of time where you started to see just the manufacturing. No more artist relations and development happening. And so, thankfully, within 10 years of that, the internet comes. And then dial-up went to broadband, right? And everyone just said, fuck you, record companies, fuck you, don't need you. And record companies realized they squandered it. And then the next thing you had was just individuals just doing their thing. The masters of their own thing. Like you're in that age. My man got his label, got his thing going. And to make a label and get your thing going, all you need is your music. You make your label online, you can do anything you want for no money.
YouTube channel as well.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. The point is this. From you've got yourself a Mac or some access to anything, you now can do it for free. And then you market yourself. And that's why this week again is about the development of you yourself. And when you come to market and do what you're doing, you don't need nobody else. You might want to work with other people. You want to work with them. But what you need is contained within you and you develop it. And thankfully, because I will put my eggs in different baskets, and because historically I've dealt with people, I never made enemies. I had some people that might not like me, but they didn't like anyone. You know, they're them kind of people. And they can't come to my face and tell me they don't like me. So they just snide in the corner. And they just look like bitches. I mean, male bitches. That's what I mean. So at the end of the day, they're not going to fade me. They will give me energy. So the whole thing with Jazzy B and all of that, the album still didn't come out. It's still a completed album. I'm going to be putting it out most likely next year. Now, like I told you, it was called Revelation 2, Thoughts Increase. Some of those songs came out 30 years ago. MellO's Gone Crazy, Firm Stance. And I've had musicians, rappers, singers come up to me and be like, yo man, I heard this song on YouTube. Like, how old is it? I remember Con actually. Con said to me, yo man, you got this, open up the mind, like, how old is that song? Or how do you think? About 6 years? That's 30 years old, mate. But the things that we're saying, it's relevant because it's authentic, because it's real, because it's expressing who I am, what I am, what's going on, alright? So what I'm going to do with that album is, you know, like when people do a time capsule, like the school kids put all their stuff and bury it and come back in 30 years. So I'm going to release this album, I'm going to call it Revelation 2 Thoughts Increase, but it's going to be called Time Capsule. Because I want it to be like, this thing has been buried for 30 odd years and now they're digging it up. 30 years is usually the retro time when fashion comes back around again, alright? Hairstyles and clothing and stuff like that. Generational. But also themes come back around. Because the themes don't really go, because people are people still doing the same shit or the same good things. Right? Right. And so again, we come back to you, my man, because when you're homeless, probably one of the times you really get to know who you are. And we're living in a time of branding and identity, and masks, and filters, where people are not necessarily being their authentic self. It's okay to be what you say you are, kind of just say it's alright to be that. But even with all of that, the you that you develop and express through your art and your work is the kind of thing you can look back in 30 years' time and it's still relevant and still correct. Because when you go through something like homelessness you're going through, some questions of abandonment, things like mistreatment or treatment as a child, it's some of the realest experience you will have when you realize I have nothing but myself and the source. And some people, after going through that or experiencing it through others, can put themselves in that place when they create, where they can go and you can develop it, you go inside, you start to bring out things that's so real as if nothing else right now is important or matters. It's like you have nothing other than what's in you that has to come out. And you have to develop that, you have to nurture that, because that type of thinking and that mentality can be applied to business, can be applied to all relationships. It means as well you're mindful and you're aware, so it steers your decisions and your judgment calls. And maybe I didn't think all of this was going to come out talking about music and vocals, but wow, kind of gone over time. How has this been for you guys?
Really eye-opening and so
Really? for this. I thank you for sharing what you shared. Even some of the quiet ones in here are not aware of what they're sharing, what they're sharing. And I hope receiving, because I am receiving from you guys too, I hope that this will help you in some way in your development, nurturing, your confidence, your belief, and your knowing. I hope you will pass this on to others. Not just with your voices, when you sing, when you write, rap, and emote, but at any opportunity that seems fitting, pass it forward. Because this is our power, man. This is not the establishment power, F that. This is our food, this is our energy. Yeah? This is something that has been within you, that you tapped into. You've got the right connections that allows you to be here today. And when you leave here for next week, you're going to be richer than you were. And you deserve that because you put the work in. I want to thank Conrad as well.
Well, thanks for coming, man. Cheers. Thank you.